gonna jump onto your channel real quick because I need to give the link to the other followers on the Discord and all that.
Yeah, but now we are live. So
Oh, great.
well, well, people. Hi, for those who are watching. I actually hope that someone is watching. And this is me, the angry anime fan. And for the first time, other than Dustin Reacts, I actually have a visitor here. Why don't you introduce yourself, man?
Hey everyone, it's Triple L here to talk with my good buddy Angry.
Yep, Triple L, as you all know, and probably should know, after all, he's a very good reviewer. He's also a manga reviewer on the internet, and we have been in contact a little bit through comments and stuff. And I wanted to do a live stream with him for a while. Communicating was not easy, but hey, we're finally here at least.
Yeah, sorry about that, man. Thank you for sticking with me.
Yeah, well, I am also to apologize that I made this very tricky and stuff. So either way, yeah, this is a One Piece video, and hopefully, if this live stream is working as it should, then hopefully we will do more live streams. So, well, yeah, One Piece. We're probably not going to get a chapter this week because of strange reasons, you know. So, my thoughts is, how do you feel about not having a One Piece chapter this week?
Man, it's December,
It's
right?
December,
Like,
right?
always
Always
happens.
happens.
Yeah, it's December.
I'm
I'm
pretty sure we get it
sure we get it
on Monday,
Monday.
though, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I thought we were going to have that holiday break next week, not this week. But,
Oh,
but
I see.
I don't know how these systems work. Do you have any idea how they work?
Just from experience, it would usually be 1 week off, then we get the chapter really early the next week, and then we go for another week off, and then maybe in January it comes back to normal. But we would maybe skip that first week in January. It's really weird. And because people are always, I think the problem is in Japan, they ship the magazines out earlier than they usually do. That's why we get them so much earlier, and the schedule is just out of whack.
I see. Well, well, yeah, you may be right. After all, I don't know myself how these live streams, or I mean these releases work.
Yeah.
So, well, but when I think about it, did we get the One Piece chapter early last week? I don't think we did. I mean, we got the spoilers early, but we didn't get the chapter early.
Yeah, we got the chapter on Thursday, I think, because spoilers came out on Wednesday. Like they were good spoilers too. Yeah, it was a normal release time last week.
So that's another reason why I thought we actually would get a chapter. But oh well, there's nothing we can do about it. We are, after all, only impatient fans.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, what are your thoughts on that last chapter, the reveal of the Mink's true form, by the way?
That was great. That was the best. I was really into it. I was really into it. I like that Carrot was doing that. The only thing that I want to know is how exclusive the form is. I want to know if the Minx on Totland can do it. That's my big question.
Yeah, I mean, I think there have been some minor hints on how this works. When Carrot told that she was gonna enter this form, Jinbei was surprised. I mean, it was clear that this Ceylon form or whatever is common knowledge for everyone except us and the Straw Hats, especially in Scotland, since it is Mink. So it may be like you say, every Mink can access this form. However, the way Jinbei described it, it made me think that maybe it's a form everybody can access, but that doesn't mean that they can control it.
I agree. I think that's definitely what is happening, especially with the training thing. The only other thing that I would wonder if it isn't that is if you can't do it, okay, when you're born as a Mink, maybe you can't do it, but you have the potential to do it and you can train to unlock that potential. But yeah, looking back at the earlier chapters, the way that Wanda was talking about it, it made it seem as if the minks were uncontrollable when they were like that. And then you had Caesar saying that the minks were man eaters or something. I do wonder if the violent nature of the minks
Or
is tied to them not being able to control it before they're able to train it, right?
yeah, and maybe there is where the rumors about minks being somewhat man-hating species existed from, because of their because of the uncontrolled Ceylon form. But yeah, that is a very good point. I mean, then again, we saw the Ceylon form, but as you said, we saw no explanation on how it worked. So exactly, so it's actually too early to assume, and now it's just to guess.
Yeah, I know, I agree. But that's One Piece, right? Oda sometimes doesn't really bother explaining the forms beyond a certain point. I don't expect much from him from this one.
Yeah, I mean, when you say when you say you don't expect much of him this way, what do you mean?
I mean, in the regard of, well, when you see Carrot doing things in the chapter, you see Carrot kind of, she's flying around, right? Like she goes really close to the ocean and somehow she's able to fly, right?
Yeah.
Uh, the mechanics of the powers, I don't see him explaining it. I don't see him explaining why the full moon does that to Minx.
Mm-hmm.
Unless we go like really deep in the origins of the Minx. Maybe they explain to us where did the Minx come from. I could see him explaining it through that way, but that feels like it's so far off, right?
Yeah, I see your point. Yeah, you are. I think I'm agreeing with you on that. After all, there is one other thing that Oda has not explained. I mean, previous Oda chapters, he showed powers that necessarily did not have to have an explanation, but now I actually feel like he has to explain them just because of these other reasons. And that was this Electro, for example. It has been stated that it is in every single mink. However, Beppo has yet to shown that Electro. So that made me question if he even were aware of it, or Oda just decided to add that into the minks when they were fully involved. But my real point is, what is Electro? Is it basically a static electricity because they have so much thick fur, or is it something else?
Yeah, like the easiest answer is static electricity made, super.
Mm.
Um, that's what I would go for because like Oda kind of does that with the other powers. Like, you
Yeah.
know, Luffy's hawk. Yeah, yeah. Luffy's hawk
Mm.
Gatling, or I can't remember the full name for it. It's Red Hawk. There we go.
Uh,
People were initially saying that it was the friction that causes the fire. Then you see the explosion on someone's back, like when he punched Doflamingo. I don't think that's just friction, right? But I think that's how Oda kind of plays it. He gives
yeah.
you like some kind of physical reason, but then you're like looking at it, it's like that can't just be the only reason, right?
Yeah, yeah, you are correct. Sometimes, and as you said, we may not have any need for an explanation, but hey, it's it's One Piece after all.
Yeah.
One of One Piece charms were always to have these odd necessities. That's what I liked about it. Although to be fair, this arc has been one very major roller coaster for me. It's been
Oh, I know. I know.
yeah. Yeah, you have what? Have you watched my reviews, or have you seen, or do you mean my comments? The,
Oh no, man. I keep up with your One Piece videos and the Black Clover videos,
oh, you do?
especially. Oh yeah,
Oh,
the
cool.
Black Clover especially because I can't, well, like I told you before, I started Black Clover after you were talking about it. Um and then the Dr. Stone videos. You're doing those still, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
And
still have
then I keep up with you whenever Flame Brigade comes out or Flaming Brigade of Flames.
a fire brigade, but yeah,
Yeah, Fire Brigade. Yeah, yeah. It has so many different titles. Yeah, I keep up with you on that one because then I know when it's out. And that one's kind of hard to remember to update with. So thank you for all that you do, by the way.
well, it's me who should thank you that if you're watching, but if you're also watching, I wouldn't mind a comment now and again.
Oh,
'Cause-
that's fair. That's fair. I usually watch them when I'm in transit going to different spots. So I'll try to do better about leaving comments.
yeah, but if you really are watching them, then I am at least then I'm very happy for doing that. Your videos with yourself, I have been watching them recently very much, and they're always that animation you have. It's always very interesting, I must say. But
Okay.
by the way, where are you? Are you at work or is that your home?
This is yeah, this is where I live.
I
Yeah.
see. Well, then back to the uh, oh yeah, we have some commenters here. Not very many, but apparently, are you familiar with someone called Cherry Boy Rider?
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with them.
Uh, what do you two have? Some kind of love, some kind of hate relationship, or is he just trolling you?
Nah, that's just how he is. I'll read a comment. I should have left your thing open here.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well,
No, he's just a funny guy. He's just messing with me. He's
okay.
on the Discord too.
Yeah, I see. Well, we also had a comment from Dustin Reacts. He and I have done a lot of live streams together,
Oh yeah, yeah, I've seen a few of them.
and he's a very good reviewer too. So also back to One Piece. Then, as I said before, I have been had roller coaster with this arc. What have your honest thoughts been about this arc?
Okay, one thing because I just read the comments again. Hi Mimi and hi Cherry Boy and everyone else. Okay, yeah, the thoughts about this arc. Well, I'm really excited to talk to you about this because I know you are not happy with the way that Sanji's being treated.
Oh, definitely not.
But I'm seeing what Oda's doing now, and it's like Oda's really pushing the narrative that Sanji's kind. So because he's pushing it so much, I do think I do think we're going for a non-violent conclusion to Sanji's family issues, right? Because Oda's pushing the narrative of kindness so much. And like we even have like the cake being the final or maybe the final solution to the Big Mom problem. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
he's going such a pacifist route with this that the only one that's doing any actual damage is Luffy for obvious reasons.
Well, can't really say I like that. I mean, uh, the fact that Sanji has been kind has shown sometimes during the other earlier arc, but now this has really, as you said, been added this arc just to show it. And Sanji not having a violent way to this fight, I had to say I'm not exactly very happy about that. I wanted him at least one fight before all of this ended. But then again, I also know that Sanji is Uda's least favorite character now. So it's that's the thing that this arc has shown me. For me, I just strongly believe now that Sanji is Uda's least favorite character, and until he gets a fight, nothing will change my mind upon that.
I hope he's not his least favorite. Um, I really don't know what to make about that because the way Sanji's treated isn't the most flattering way. Like we know he had that whole issue with mermaids back in Fishman Island. That was kind of ridiculous, but that was One Piece being One Piece.
Yeah,
And now it's man, I want Sanji to win out in this, right? I want him to do good because Sanji's the one that gets his limits shown more often than the other Straw Hats, right?
yeah,
Because when we were in Punk Hazard, Sanji was facing off against Virgo, and they made the point of showing Sanji's legs breaking or fracturing a little bit.
yeah,
We had the Doflamingo incident was pretty bad because Sanji went up against Doflamingo, but Doflamingo wasn't using hardening, so it's like, well, is he actually strong enough, or is Doflamingo just playing with him, right?
yeah. I mean, my point's exactly that Virgo fight. Oh my God, that was actually the start of the time I actually began to think that Sanji was Uda's least favorite straw hat. I mean, what was even the point of showing Sanji's leg breaking? In fact, he never brought it up again in the story. If he had it in the Dressrosa arc, like saying, "Oh my God, my leg hasn't healed yet," then that would have been fine. But or saying, "Oh, my leg is already healed," similar to when Luffy and Brook drank milk and their bones were just healed like that. If at least there had been some moments where Sanji would have done the same for one of his Okama recipes or something, that would have been fine. But no, he never brought it up again. That is one thing that has really infuriated me. And it's,
Yeah,
I mean, what was even the point of breaking Sanji's leg? Just to show that Virgo was tough?
yeah. Well, that was the point, right? You mentioned it pretty often, the Worf effect. Like
Yeah,
it's unfortunate that Sanji's the one that's doing it, but if I was to justify it, it's because Sanji's the person who's strong enough to be able to fight these people, but also weak enough that he can get damaged to show that the person's strong.
Y-
It puts him in a really nasty situation, especially when you compare him to what Zoro's doing. It's a
Yeah,
really nasty situation for Sanji to be in.
yeah. I mean, Zoro is so immortal this entire arc, and the one and only time I think we're gonna see him bleed again is when he's gonna face off in the Kaido Wars. He's obviously gonna fight a disaster, and I think that disaster will be the first opponent in the New World to wound him. Only the difference is that Zoro is gonna smile sadistically because finally an opponent can wound him again. That means he can get stronger. So. I mean that. So I think that is one of the conclusions of this of the Kaido arc. But it's just that, when it comes back to the whole Cake Island, the cake is made, and they're on their way to Big Mom. However, now suddenly Big Mom is getting thinner, and that was also one thing that was very curious. Thing. Why is Oda throwing in that? Oh, Big Mom is getting thinner. Is it just to show that they have that she has been hunting the straws for so long that she's actually getting exercise, or is that a foreshadowing hint that Big Mom's biggest weakness is actually her hunger rampage? She's draining her strength or something.
Oh, I definitely agree with you. I think her biggest weakness is her hunger. Not me. I never thought about the energy consumption, but it's definitely the biggest weakness in terms to her organization. I mean, if she goes crazy, everyone in her kingdom might die, right? Like that's a pretty big weakness. Um,
Yeah, but she can also not be stopped other than the food that can be made. So that makes it makes a weakness for everyone around her, just not for her. She still hasn't been wounded. So I was more asking, is it possible that if she rampages long enough and gets thinner, then she gets weaker, and only then can she be wounded? I was pointing more towards that.
oh, you mean like if she pretty much passed out from hunger, pretty much?
Or maybe her tough skin gets softer.
Man, the tough skin thing is a really weird thing, but yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, you're right. It's definitely weird. I mean, we were introduced to Kaido, who was said to be a freak of nature, and then we suddenly saw Big Mom's flashback, and then it was turned out she was a freak of nature. I mean, the TV tropes. Are you familiar with that
oh
site?
yeah, super familiar, super
Yeah,
familiar.
it's a very good site. They actually made a very good post on one of Big Mom's page. So they described her as a mutant. I mean, we have weird characters in One Piece, and we have superhumans, those who train and those who are naturally gifted. And Big Mom is none of that. She was born powerful. Therefore, she is not classified as a strong human or just someone who was born gifted. No, she is just a plain simple mutant, a freak of nature.
That's a really
It's
interesting way of thinking about it. That's true. That is true. I never really considered it in that light.
Yeah, but still, that leaves Kaido though. I mean, the fact that everyone in this One Piece story, even Big Mom, who is a freak herself, describes Kaido as a thing, not a person, makes me question: is those theories about Kaido being an artificial creature true or not? It's I mean, where did those horns even come from?
Man, I am not sure what to make of Kaido, honestly, because Big Mom did mess things up a lot. But for Kaido, where the horns might have come from, who knows? They might have just been decoration. That could just be something he wears on his head. We have no real way of knowing yet.
Yeah, because I mean, I shouldn't really talk about that yet, but that was only if you had any theories or stuff like that.
I
It's
have one idea about the horn thing. We've seen people with horns before. I think they're like like a secondary race or something. Like Caesar has goat horns.
mm,
Magellan has devil horns. Um, the other one that's in Impel Down has horns as well. Moria has horns. I do wonder if horns is a tribe. It's weird that we see these people with horns and we have no real justification to why they have horns.
yeah. It is also the fact that, as you said, uh, Or's horns are remarkably similar to Kaido. That made me think that maybe Kaido is also a descendant of Or's. Only the difference is he inherited his ancestors' toughness more than little Or's Jr. did. However, as for now, it is just a theory, and there's still gonna be a long time before we reach that Wano arc.
Yeah, 2 years, right? 2 years at least.
Well, 2 years at least, 1 or 2 years, 2 years at least. I mean, I'm not young anymore, and it's not that like I'm gonna drop manga just like that, but I'm trying to build my future here, and this manga is gonna be that slow in going, and when I'm still reviewing videos, it's a mess, really.
Yeah, well, like the biggest concern with Oda is whether or not he gets sick before he finishes his manga, which would be sad. I hope that doesn't happen. But
Yeah,
I do know that behind the scenes, Oda keeps making up ideas, but he's also like compressing ideas together. There were interviews talking about how he made Punk Hazard. He put together the idea for a Fire Island and Ice Island together in Punk Hazard, and he was kind of squishing things together. Like I think they are trying to go fast, but some things aren't working out as well as they want to work out in terms of the time.
yeah. And then when we get back to the whole Cake Island arc, it's wha- wha- what are your thoughts on Big Mom as a character? And then I mean, do you agree with those more popular YouTubers such as Joy Boy theorists that Big Mom will become an ally?
Man, I don't. Okay, we have to remember Big Mom's a horrible person. We have
Yeah.
to remember that we are dealing with horrible people, with the Straw Hats being like the best of the worst in terms of morals. If she becomes an ally, like it's one of those things where Oda has to like justify it. He has to really tell us why this makes sense.
Mm,
I'm not sure if he wants to do that. Big Mom becoming like relatively friendly to the Straw Hats, I think that could happen. But at the same time, like she's been in the game for what, 40 years? Yeah. She's been in the game for more than 40 years. She's 60 now. She started when she was a child. She's been in the game for 50 years.
mm,
Why would she ally with the person who wants to take her crown that she's been fighting for 50 years, right?
yeah, it just doesn't
You
make sense.
Yeah, you have to destroy her current personality and then build it back up into like this person who's nice.
Mm.
But I don't know if that's happening. And then you have like I think I'd be annoyed if she would join the Straw Hats only because she's such an unstable person.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would have been the one and only justification. Big Mom is an unstable person, therefore she can switch character like that. I think that would make the only one and only justification. But I am strongly against that theory because Big Mom is a horrible person. I mean, every single scene she is in, she just do something horrible. She is not. And I cannot understand how anyone would actually think that they can be that she can be a good person.
Man,
Just,
the big problem is we have Crocodile who did terrible things in the past. And then
yeah,
we have him technically teaming up with Luffy during Impel Down in Marineford, right? He kind of
yeah,
set this idea that, oh, it doesn't really matter what terrible things they did, as long as Luffy beats them afterward, they could be good guys. And it's just like, it's a slippery slope with Crocodile. And now if we're doing it with Big Mom, it just I
mm,
think the easiest way I can imagine it is that Big Mom goes crazy again and she turns into a nice person. But that's really weak in terms of the story, right? I
yeah,
don't think I think that just be doing Big Mom a disservice. And another thing on Big Mom, because you mentioned it, like, yeah, she's this bad person, but we saw her childhood. It makes sense that she turned out the way she did, but this is now like an issue of nature versus nurture, right? Like
yeah.
she was a nice girl technically, but now she's made sense of the things she does. So you can't really argue that she was botched from the beginning.
Yeah, and TV tropes, as I said before, that's a very valid point on this. That's a very accurate way of describing Big Mom's character. I would actually recommend reading that that her page. Well, it's not a solo page, but going on the Jonko and finding Big Mom and reading her TV tropes, everything they say there has make a lot of sense, and that actually made me think all the more that Big Mom will not become an ally because of these reasons. Is the fact that she has a, because of the way she was raised, the way she was as a child, and many things more, is actually very difficult to see how Big Mom sees the world. And I mean, she has probably gained everything she has had ever since she was a child. And even though her adoptive caretaker turned out to be also scum, it is worth noting that she, enabling Big Mom's trait, did not help Big Mom knowing what was right and wrong. And then when Straussen appeared, it's not, we haven't exactly seen how he raised her, but it's clear that he said that you have the strength, use it. If and if no one likes you about that, then just get them out of your way.
Yeah, Straussen raising her is kind of disturbing because we know he's her first husband. Um,
Well, are you really sure he is the first husband?
I think it popped up in an SBS. I know that the person I heard it from was Joy Boy Theories. So you know what? I'm gonna take it back because I am not sure. So I do not want to call that. But if he were her husband at one point, that would have been very disturbing. But yeah, Straussen was a pirate, right? So he gave her the pirate way of life, which was a shitty way because she turned into a monster.
Yeah, I mean, if we go to that very disgusting theory, it's, I mean, it is disturbing, but also people, you have to realize this is Big Mom, and disturbing is in her nature. So for her, that was not disturbing at all. It was just a means to an end. However, that flashback we saw from Pound suggests that the husband she marries, she lives with them, but when the childs are born, she just throws them aside. So if Straussen really were her first husband, then why has she not thrown him aside? It is also the, I mean, if Straussen were the first husband, then I will have to be bold and ask, is Tamago also a husband? Because he is a long-legged tribe member, and Smoothie is a long-legged hybrid too. So it's just that we know nothing on what happened to Big Mom's husbands. Did she kill them? Did she throw them aside when they were done? Or the only one we know of is the hint of Pound, and that is that she just throws them aside once the child are born.
Yeah, that's true. The idea of Baron Tamago being her husband, though, that's funny and scary. But yeah, I don't know. Are the husbands important enough that we're going to see them in the future? Like in Pound's flashback, we saw him with a crown. I wonder if that crown was something that he had or Big Mom gave him.
Well, I think it symbolized he was married to the queen, therefore he was the king.
Okay, so that's what it was.
I think it was like that. I mean, I'm still a bit disturbed. I mean, we have seen how Big Mom, for some reason, looked when she was 28 years old. I mean, that picture, for me, did not make any sense. However, I guess puberty and training can have a very odd effect on your body. And however, my real point is, I'm still very surprised that Big Mom chooses to marry these men, and because I mean, it would have made much more sense if she just raped a man and then got pregnant. However, she marries them and then she throws them aside. It's just another sign to show just how weird Big Mom really is.
Well, I think you can actually justify that if you keep in mind Mother Caramel. I could have very easily seen a situation where Mother Caramel tells Big Mom that people that love each other get married. And she tells Big Mom, "Oh yeah, marriage is this really good thing." And then Big Mom identifies marriage is a good thing, and then she does the marriage when she's a grown up. She only knows that marriage is a good thing to have kids with, and then once that whole thing is over, she doesn't know what else to do. She thinks she did the first bit and she throws it away, right? Big Mom is that issue of nice things at first, but then how she gets there, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good point. And I can agree with you. After all, her tea parties, that's only one very sad and also horrifying attempt to recreate her happiest memory as a child. That If you think about it, every single tea party and even the children she has created are all just an attempt to create that one memory she had as a child, the happiest memory she had when she was 6 years old, her birthdays and all that stuff. So that's pretty horrifying in itself too, because that
Yeah.
just first shows just how mentally uh, degraded Big Mom really is. She, as I said in many videos before, for me, Big Mom is nothing more than a child liking to play with her dolls, and the dolls are her pirate crew, and the children, well, that's just dolls too, or something else she commands. She is uh, she is a grown woman with a child's mindset, selfish, spoiled, and incredibly dangerous. Because there's nothing more dangerous in real life than a spoiled tantrum child, because you don't know how to control them. And Big Mom is even more dangerous because she is so strong.
Mhm. Yeah, it's like a baby with a grenade.
Yeah, yeah,
Not
very
the
much.
best.
And then we get to the point of so the Vinsmokes have yet to show themselves. So I think now that the cake is done and they're on their way to Big Mom, the Vinsmokes are the only guests that have yet to crash this party. So do you think what do you think their crashing was gonna be like?
Let me think. Man, I think they're gonna help. I think they just want to get out of the situation. But the Vince Smokes, I think we still have a lot more to get from the Vince Smokes. I do think that Sanji versus Ichiji kind of still has to happen, just because that's the only one left.
Well, he
Um,
well he has to at least kick one of his brother's ass. This arc cannot end if he doesn't at least do that. The fact that his brothers are emotionless monsters makes me question: is Uda gonna give them emotion, or is he just gonna give them one big kick ass?
Man, I think he could play Ichiji in the way that Ichiji actually hates Sanji. Like he feels a burning hate for Sanji. Like it's only visceral emotion. And if Oda really, it's because Ichiji seems so emotionless that it's hard to like make them fight with any kind of emotional investment behind it. You know, it feels like a pretty hollow fight if you did that. But if he plays this card that Ichiji actually was really jealous of Sanji because Sanji was getting along with their mom and he really like he liked their mom too, if he
Yeah,
plays that card, I could see like a cool thing going on. But like the only reason I think Ichiji would have a conflict with Sanji is because we saw kind of Sanji have a conflict with Yonji and he kicked his face in.
mm,
And then Sanji had a conflict with Niji. Is that his name? The second one?
yeah,
Yeah. He had a conflict with him. Sanji got beat up with that, but that was still technically their conflict with that whole the servant girl. The
yeah,
only person that he hasn't had a direct conflict with has been Ichiji among the brothers, and then he had the conflict with his dad. But Judge is already, I think, he's injured. Judge isn't gonna fight anymore.
yeah.
So
He's
that's
out.
cool.
I mean, I had this when you actually mentioned that mother thing. I actually had a theory that one of the reasons why the brothers hate Sanji so much is not just because Sanji is weak, it's because deep down they loved their mother, but their mother did not love them because she was horrified of the fact that they were emotionless monsters. So maybe deep down they had jealousy towards Sanji for being their mother's favorite. I mean, they're not completely emotionless because of the drug's effect. They reacted with disgust when it came to, you know, Big Mom's collection after all.
Yeah,
However, I agree. Judge is out of the game. Although I really wanted Sanji to kick his ass. I mean, it would just have been so much sweet karma if Sanji fought his brothers, defeated them, and then took over Germa, only for Judge to wake up and see how much Sanji has changed it, and then Sanji beating Judge up. That would have been the ultimate humiliation for Judge and the ultimate redemption for Sanji. But I don't think Uda's gonna play that card.
yeah. I think Judge already got his humiliation when he was crying in front of Big Mom. That was pretty harsh to watch. He was crying, and then his sons were just like, "Hey, suck it up." It was a pretty nasty situation for Judge.
Mm, yeah, I guess. But
Seeing Sanji beat him up, like I don't know, I don't think Oda wants to do that. Just because of the way things seem, right?
yeah, I guess so. But I think another reason why Judge dislike Sanji is because Sanji was the ultimate reminder of himself. Judge had have emotions after all, and Sanji has that too. So maybe Judge created these monster sons because he, in the end, believed that empathy really was a weakness because he had it in himself. He tried to become emotionless, but he could not. And this will be a humiliation, but I still feel like it's not a satisfying end to it all. Still feels like something
Oh,
missing.
yeah, I agree. I mean, like we've seen the things that Judge did to Sanji. It doesn't feel good to see someone kind of just get away with that. But and I'm thinking about it, like going back to what you were saying about Sanji was most like Judge and all that. I do think we're gonna get a scene where we're gonna see Judge without his helmet. He's gonna be talking to Sanji, and we're gonna see that his eyebrows go in the same direction that Sanji's does, because we know that the brothers have opposite eyebrows, right, from Sanji. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think we're gonna get that scene of showing that eyebrows are the same between the two. And that's like I do think that's gonna happen. I think that's what Oda wants to reach. It was like, look, they're the same after all. And it's like, no, that's not fair. Judge
yeah,
is a horrible person. Doesn't matter if you make him cry. Like, Jesus Christ, the guy's terrible. Yeah, no, the guy's terrible. The guy is objectively terrible. He's a horrible parent.
yeah. That's exactly the point. So I mean, and Germa joining the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, that would have been kind of sweet. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Ryuju
Yeah, agreed.
could have been the commander. In the end, what I really hoped for the whole Kick Island arc is that, as we said before, Sanji has been going through shit this entire arc. It's basically a trauma conga line for him, which is why I'm actually wishing that in the end, this is just gonna be a earn your happy ending for Sanji. A time that he goes through hell, but in the end, through that hell, he bakes a cake. He starts Big Mom. He confronts his brothers. He defeats them and he leaves with his pirate crew. He goes through hell and back, but in the end, he survives. That in the end, that's the conclusion I want on Sanji. But I'm very scared of Uda not pulling that card.
Yeah, agreed. Like that's what I want too, right? Like the poor guy's gone through so much. As a fan, I would love to see him get something cool going on with him.
Yeah,
Like even if it's like putting being nice to him and actually sticking with him, I think that'd be like good enough. Like it's good enough for Sanji's character. Um, him making some legitimate peace or contributing in a giant way would be awesome. It's
yeah,
just like I look at what's going on with Luffy right now, and like you look at the Luffy plot and you look at the Big Mom plot, and it's like these are two very separate things going on. On Luffy's side, he's dealing with I want to get stronger. I need to get stronger. I need to fight Katakuri at his best so that I can get stronger. Like Luffy's on a hard I want to get better path. Meanwhile, Sanji's dealing with Big Mom. He's the one that's mitigating the biggest threat, right? It's really interesting to see these two separate plots. I would have loved to see like a subplot with Sanji saying like, you know, I want to fight this person because I need to be able to get stronger from this, right?
yeah. It is
Because
also
that's what yeah,
the
sorry, that's what Zoro also does, right? He does I want to get stronger. But yeah,
yeah.
go on.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say that it's worth noting that Sanji's pants were white, so I was actually suspecting we were finally gonna see him use Busou Haki because he used it against his father, but then again his pants were black back then, so we did not see Black Busou as I call it. So I was actually hoping we was gonna see it now that he had white pants. Well, we still haven't seen that, so that makes me question it even more. It is worth noting that his speciality is Kenbushu no Haki, so, but yeah, Luffy versus Katakuri. That is what everyone is talking about. And Luffy will win because he's the main character, damn it. That's what people need to realize. However, what do you think about that fight?
I'm interested in it because I want to see more of awakening powers. I want to see what people can do with awakening. Um, with the fight itself, like I'm interested, but it's not the thing that has me the most excited, right? Everything else that the Straw Hats are doing have me pretty excited because Luffy is like you said, we know Luffy's gonna win at the end.
Mm,
How he does it is gonna be like the most incredible thing in that. It's gonna be like cool to see it. But on the Straw Hat side, look what you have them doing. You have Sanji making a cake. You have Pound sacrificing his life to save his grandchild. You have the Straw Hats riding inside of a giant tsunami. You have the Straw Hats running away from an entire fleet. Their side just seems more exciting because they're doing way more like interesting stuff.
Yeah, that is true. Speaking of which, there's some small parts here to mention. We have seen a lot of the Big Mom's family, the Charlotte family. However, do you think we're gonna see every single child?
I would love it if we could see every child, but because of time constraints, because time is an actual issue here, I don't think we will. I think the anime could show us every child.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
the anime kind of had, because there's I think that anime scene when Big Mom talked to her one of her younger daughter Ananas. I think there's some scenes with some other children that we see more. One of a long neck, one fishman, and one other. So I think
mhm,
the anime technically already showed some of Big Mom's youngest children, and also in the when the enraged army appeared, there was this long-armed lady. Apparently, she's also a child of Big Mom. What was it? Her name? Charlotte Mukuku or something like that.
I think I know what you're talking about. Is it the one with the blue shirt?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Hana shirt or something. It's
yeah.
I mean, when Uda said that Big Mom had 85 children, then I actually did not believe we were going to see every single one. And now that suddenly that Big Mom is 65, 8 years old and not immortal, that as you said, that made age and time difference kind of difficult for Uda to plan. I mean, I know that myself. I'm trying to become a writer, and it's not easy timing some things.
Hmm.
It's just too much planning sometimes. Still, though, if Sanji would have fought someone, I would have preferred it would have been Perospero, or at least Daifuku someone. But well, yeah. Do you have your any own thoughts on the One Piece and this arc and stuff like that?
On this arc, what I'm thinking is, what am I thinking about this arc? I enjoy the arc, man. You know, Brooke's my favorite character. I'm sure you already know that.
Yeah, I know.
Uh, Seeing him do stuff in this arc made me really happy. I wish we could have seen more. And other thoughts, you know, I look at this arc and I see what Oda does with fight in general, and it looks like Oda's moving away from those hardcore one-on-one fights and going more into skirmishes, where the Straw Hats just like have a small clash and then just keep moving.
Mm.
It's very interesting the way that the manga is changing with the introduction of the New World and the introduction of the Straw Hats being strong enough to fight people, right? I think that's one of the cool things with the time skip. It's that the Straw Hats are now in a place where they can realistically contend with really dangerous people and get out more or less alive.
Yeah, that sounds right. And after all, and also worth noting that to people that still doubt the Straw Hats, they are going to get to Wano after this, and then they're going to fight a Yonko crew member. They have to get stronger because, unlike Big Mom, the Beast Pirates will not be opponents they're gonna run away from.
Yeah, the Beast Pirates are probably a little bit more competent than Big Mom's pirates.
But I also think the Beast Pirates are a little bit more savage than the Big Mom Pirates. It's clear that the Big Mom Pirates uses tactical and overwhelming forces as well as overwhelming, but they're also extremely arrogant because they're in their own territory. However, I think the Beast Pirates fights more with brute strength alone and very huge power. After all, Jack, although he was right that Raizo was on Saw, it's worth noting that Jack was just completely unstable. He was so unstable that it's actually a miracle that someone could actually stop him. It's so I think the Beast Pirates are just a bunch of savages. In fact, Kaido has two other disasters. What are their names? If Jack is based upon a card game, what can the other two be?
If we were going card game, it'd have to be King and Queen, right? Those are the only other two that it could be,
Hmm. King and Queen.
or Ace.
Uh, well, hmm. Well, I don't. Well, if they're going towards Big Mom, sorry, Big Mom Pirates are doing. then maybe there is a Smurfette principle, and there is one female disaster. Maybe that's the queen, and however, maybe the other one is the ace, while the king is Kaido.
Oh, good point. Yeah, yeah.
However, that still will contradict the fact that there already is an ace in this story, so that would probably be a little bit confusing. As but yeah, we're soon gonna wrap this live stream up. There's just some other thoughts about this. Uh, are you for Jinbei becoming a Nakama?
Oh yeah, I'm totally into it. Like I remember there was this one interview from Oda like so long ago that was saying that the next Nakama was gonna be a boss, and people call Jinbei a boss. So I feel like yeah, all right, Jinbei, I'm totally in for it.
Yeah,
But I want more than one. I kind of want Pudding to just go with the Straw Hats for safety, and maybe Carrot. Carrot could tag along. Like I'm kind of I want them all angry. I want them all.
yeah. Well, I can agree a little bit on you. Although my feelings are a bit mixed on Pudding's still, because I was so heartbreaking about that reveal. I actually have a theory about Pudding. You know, it's all once again coming back to the Vinsmokes. You know what Oda could do if he really wanted to be mean to Sanji and to us and to everything else? He could make the Vinsmoke appear. They could almost destroy the cake. Pudding tries to defend Sanji, only for Niji or Ichiji to shoot her dead. Do you have any idea how mean that would actually be to Sanji? I mean, although her reveal of her true character was also mean, the fact in the end she really did fall in love with him, although a little bit still bipolar disorder tsundere style, and only for her to die right before his eyes, that would send Sanji into such a fury that the Vinsmoke brothers will definitely get their ass kicked, but it will also be the final mock to Uda to Sanji, really.
Yeah, if Oda kills Pudding, that would be, you know, everyone's gonna talk about it. Everyone's gonna be like, holy shit. And yeah, that'd give us a good excuse for why Sanji's gonna beat up people. I
Yeah.
hope that doesn't happen. That's really hard. No, man, that's sad. I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, but this is Uda. Although Uda doesn't necessarily kill off everyone he does, we do know that he really knows when to hit the nail of emotions when it's really gonna be there. So who knows what he's gonna play? If he wanted to have story driven, he could just do that. But again, if he's not pulling that card, where is Pudding gonna go? Is she gonna go with the fire tank pirates because for some reason she and Chiffon is hitting off? It's still not revealed on why she seems to hold her sister Lola in high regard if she always were that unstable. However, in the end, maybe Chiffon and Lola were the one and only siblings that showed her kindness, so she showed them kindness.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
That
surprised if Lola was the one that said that she was pretty, right? I wouldn't be surprised if Lola was the one that was always nice to her.
Yeah, maybe, and that's maybe another reason why Pudding went so mad. The Lola leaving was I really will always be alone. So who knows? Another final thought is me and Dustin reacts. We really wanted Big Mom to be defeated this arc. Do you think that will happen?
Uh, maybe we'll get like some type of defeat, but I don't think it'll like destroy her. She has all that wealth. She has a whole island system. She's gonna keep being a force. I don't think the Straw Hats are gonna destabilize her in the same way that Whitebeard was destabilized after he was beaten. Um, I think Big Mom's just gonna get mad. Okay, if she doesn't go the friendly route, she's gonna get mad, and it's gonna be a constant threat of Big Mom coming for them, or Big Mom's going to forgive them with the cake, but she's still going to be competing for Pirate King, right?
Yeah,
It's one of those two.
well,
It's tough to imagine what it's gonna look like when
yeah.
she's over
I
and
mean,
done with.
I hope more for the rageful event, because if you think about it, if as much as I want Big Mom to be defeated, the fact is, if Uda goes through the other defeat or things, then in the end that would still be a defeat. Because if you think about it, she has lost her cake, and then she ate a cake from an enemy. Her own castle is destroyed because of the Tamawata Bata box. She rampaged across many of the different islands, therefore also destroying them. her enemies got into her territory and not only got out, but they also got a pieces of the poneglyph for that she is so very difficult in protecting. She tried to she lost two of her suite's commanders, and three of Smoothie's gonna be defeated. Not only that, but she lost her best son, her most perfect weapon, in a battle against Luffy. The Windsmokes did not get killed. She did not get their technology, and if Pudding were to be killed, she would lose her triumph card of reading the poneglyph. Or if she escaped with Lola, no, I mean Chiffon, then she will still lose her triumph card. In the end, the amount of humiliation that Big Mom will feel, that will definitely set her off if that happened.
Yeah, agreed. And thinking about that too, what if we ended up getting the same thing that happened with Inner Childhood? What if Big Mom just goes crazy forever and she just eats everything in her territory?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that was also one other route I was suspecting. I was suspecting that maybe in the end, Big Mom is so powerful that she kills herself. I mean, by
Yeah.
eating. I mean, Katakuri did lampshade that if Big Mom kept on rampaging the whole Cake Island or the other islands, the island itself would be destroyed. And she is a devil fruit user, so she would drown under
Mhm.
that. So, and I think that would also play with the famous Japanese story that the strongest shield can only be defeated by the strongest spear, aka Big Mom herself. Uh, that would make a lot of fans a bit dissatisfied, but again, there are those who say that it should not make sense for Luffy to defeat Big Mom. Then do they think that it makes more sense this way then?
Man, I think it can make sense if Oda gives us enough justification for it. Like, man, you could poison Big Mom. If you can get her to be distressed, we can poison her. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm,
Well,
I'm interested to see how it's going to end.
yeah, and we'll see how One Piece ends, and we'll see if we'll get any chapters. I mean, this time of the year is always the most, uh, you know, when it comes to manga, because we don't know when it's gonna get released, and we don't know when we're gonna have breaks. All we know is gonna have a lonely day of waiting.
Yeah.
However, I still wish you a happy holiday. Not that I'm much for a Christmas celebration, but that's only because people do not watch enough cartoons. So if they watched, the world would have been a happier place. And but still, a happy holiday to you. And uh,
Oh, thank you.
and I hope we'll have a live stream again someday.
Yeah, I'm into it.
That and the next time maybe we can talk about My Hero Academia, because there are some stuff happening there, and your videos about My Hero Academia, that brings up many valid points. So maybe next live stream that we'll do in the next year or so, in February to March and April, I will be in the USA for a
For classes, right?
yeah, Stella Adler. So there might be some troublesome of having live streams then. So maybe in January or so we can try to have one again or so. It's
Yeah.
entirely up to you. Other than that, I thank you for having a live stream with me, Triple L.
Oh, thank you, Angry Anime Fan.
That, and I'll see you perhaps in a comment on your video or stuff. In the meantime, have it good.
See you, buddy.
See ya.
See ya.